All right, everybody, let's start. Welcome to PMI Risk Management Professional 15 days crash course. So let me first explain how we will be completing the course in next 15 days. So let me zoom in a little bit. I hope all of you can see my screen. Is it visible to everybody? Can you all see it?
Yes, sir, this is
Okay, perfect. So we'll start with day one. Day one is live class, or it could be self-paced, right? Duration 2 to 3 hours because you need to review. So I have added time as well, like how much time you need to allocate on daily basis. So 2 hours we will be spending in the class and then 1 hour for revision or taking notes. So today we will be talking about plan risk management. There are 5 sections in the entire course or 5 domains. So today our plan is to cover domain one. Similarly, tomorrow we will be talking about domain two, which is risk identification, right? So these two are your live classes. And then day three, day four, day five, day six, and day seven, we will be having 5 mock tests. You understand, everybody? 5 mock tests, 1 mock test every single day. Each mock test will be having roughly 20 questions, right? So you need to allocate 1 hour on daily basis to do the test and to review it. And the test would be from these two domains, plan risk management and identify risk. Okay. Once it is done, we move to next weekend classes, next Saturday, which is again live class, which is risk analysis. We will be talking about qualitative and quantitative analysis, right? And then the last class, we will be talking about risk response planning and monitor risk. And we will be completing our course here. And then again, 5 more mock tests. So day 10, mock test on risk analysis. Day 11, mock test on risk analysis again. Day 12, mock test on risk response planning. Day 13, another mock test on risk response planning. Day 14, a mock test on monitor and close risk. And day 15, full PMI RMP exam, which is 115 questions like real risk management exam. So whatever score you will be getting in this mock, that will be your level of preparation. Okay. So overall, what we will be having 4 live classes with recordings, 10 topic wise mock question. Each will be having 20 questions, one full length exam, right? This is your structured 15 days crash course. Is it clear, everybody? Any confusion regarding way forward or the roadmap or how we will be completing this risk management course? So this is similar to CP course, PMI construction professional course. Those who have done PMI CP, they are very well aware that how it goes. If anyone has any question, please feel free to ask. Any question, please, anyone? No question, all set. Should we start?
yes, sir.
If we feel
Okay.
that we are left, need more mock exams than to do in this.
Yeah, absolutely. If your score is less, right? Let's say if you get less than 70% score, right? Then I'll give you more marks, right? But I hope these marks are more than enough to prepare and pass the RMP exam. But still, if you need more, I'll provide you with that. Okay?
All right,
Right.
inshallah.
So we'll start with introduction to risk management exam. Right? I hope all of you could see my screen. Introduction to PMI RMP exam. Introduction to RMP exam. Okay. So first is the eligibility criteria for this exam. Eligibility criteria. Anyone, please, if you have any idea what is the eligibility criteria for this exam? Anyone, please? What is the eligibility criteria for PMI risk management exam, if you have seen that?
Yes, the criteria for the eligibility is like any applicant he should have a 3 year of experience in project risk management, like this, and 16 years education, and
Yeah,
this is what's the rough estimation.
right. So one needs to have 4-year degree, right? 4 years bachelor degree. And with that, you need to have minimum 24 months of specialized risk management experience, right? 4 years bachelor degree and 24 months of risk experience. And with that, you need to have risk management education, formal risk management training or education. This course will satisfy the third requirement. At the end of the course, you will receive a certificate verifying that you have successfully completed required contact hours for PMI risk management exam. So this is your eligibility criteria. Okay, if I talk about exam, in PMI risk management exam, in total you will be having 115 questions. 115 questions. And in order to respond to these 115 questions, you will be having 150 minutes, 2 hours and 30 minutes. Okay, 150 minutes. Your exam is divided in two sections, right? So first you will be having section 1. In section 1 you will be having first 58 questions. And then there would be an optional break, right? For 10 minutes. And after break you will be having second section. In section 2 you will be having 59 to 115. So break is essential. Take the break, freshen up, and come back and complete your exam. So this is not a lot of time. This is just enough time. As I discussed in my PMP courses, like there are two reasons people fail the PMP exam. Same is the case here. One, they're not able to manage time, and second, they don't prepare. So time management is really, really important in this exam. Okay. Right. If I talk about passing criteria for those who are doing PMI certification for the first time, officially PMI does not disclose any passing criteria, but just to be on the safer side, we assume it's 70%. So if you are getting nearly 70% or more than 70% marks in the mock test, means you're ready for the exam. Okay, 70%. Just remember this. Okay. So this is the passing criteria for this exam. Officially, PMI does not disclose it. Okay. If I talk about what we will be covering in this course. So in this course, we have 5 different domains. There are 5 domains that we will be covering in this course. Or the entire course content is divided in 5 different sections. And because all PMI certifications, they are based on exam content outline. PMI certifications are based on exam content outline, ECO. And in ECO, we have 5 different domains. First is risk strategy and planning. Risk strategy and planning. Then we have risk analysis, right? Then risk response planning. Sorry, I skipped one. Risk identification. Just a second. Yeah. So, yes. Second one is risk identification, right? Third one is risk analysis. Fourth one is risk response planning. And the last one is monitor and close risk, right? So these are 5 sections in your risk management exam. So if I talk about percentage, so first one is 22% of your exam, risk strategy and planning that we will be covering today. Risk identification is 23% of the exam. We'll be talking about tomorrow. Risk analysis, 23% next Saturday. And the last day of training, we will be talking about risk response planning and monitor and close risk. So this is how we will be covering 100% of the exam content. Okay. Once again, PMI certifications are not based on any standard, right? PMI certifications are based on the exam content outline. And as per the latest exam content outline for risk management, there are 5 sections. So this is the percentage of each section. Is it clear, everybody? So we are going to start with the first one. But before we start the first one, this one, let me explain the process for this certification, especially for those who are doing PMI certification for the first time. So just give me a second. I'll be back. Meanwhile, if you have any question, please write in the chat. Give me a minute.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Okay,
we can
perfect.
hear you.
We can
So process for certification for everybody. So process starts with certification application. So the first thing we will be doing is we will submit application. And for application, I will be sending you guidelines on Monday, like how to submit application for PMI risk management examination. PMI takes 5 to 7 business days to process your application. Once your application is approved, then you can pay for exam. Right? Pay for exam. First, you need to pay for membership. Right? Then you need to pay for exam. Okay. And membership and exam fee varies from region to region. For different regions, we have different fee, right? Once you pay for the exam, then you can schedule your exam. You can take your exam in 2 ways, either at exam center or online at home. Both options are available. I suggest go for center-based exam. Okay, because if you take exam online at home, if there is any technical issue, network, internet, anything, then you'll be responsible for that. And sometime you have to retake the exam. So it's better go to the exam center. Okay. Schedule your exam. Once you schedule your exam, then you take the exam. And you get your result instantly right after you complete your exam. Okay. Right. Now, if I talk about resources that you should be using to prepare for RMP exam, number one, the content that we will be discussing in the class notes, right? Second, I'll be sending 100 PMI 100 PMI RMP. Okay, so you need class notes, then I'll be sharing 100 RMP tips with you. I'll also be sharing PMI RMP standard. It's roughly under 200 page document, very helpful, right? And then mock tests. That's it. Nothing else. So class notes, tips, standard, and mock test. That's what you will be using to prepare for PMI risk management exam. How much time you need? Time I have already mentioned. If you follow this strategy, right, you can easily crack the RMP exam. But consistency is the key. If you stay consistent, you do the homework regularly, then this exam is easier. And if I compare this exam with other PMI certifications, right? Let's say with PMP, SP, CP, this is relatively easier. This certification is relatively easier. And also in PMP, in CP, and other certification, there is a huge portion of risk, right? So, for example, in PMP, you have a dedicated section for risk. In construction professional exam, you have dedicated section for risk and contract. So that would be really helpful in understanding concepts here. So those who have done other certifications by PMI, RMP is much, much easier. Right. So let's start with first domain, which is risk strategy and planning. Before we start, if any of you have any question, please feel free to ask. Any question, please.
Yes, sir.
Sir, I have a simple question.
Yes, please.
Okay, sir, normally if you look into the situation in PMP, so we have like 180 question and 230 minutes. And the same is the case with the PMI CP, like we have 120 question, but still we have a time of 230 minutes. But if we go through the RMP, why is this
Yeah.
like for 115% there is a time of 150 minutes? Any logic in this? Are they easy, so easy that they can be managed in this much time, or what is the strategy behind this?
No, if you see in PMP, you don't have a lot of time, right? You have just 77 seconds for each question, right? And if you see RMP, you have 78 seconds for each question. So it's the same, right? Because number of question is less here. So you have 115 questions in 115 minutes. So roughly you have 78 seconds for each question. And if I talk about PMP, you have 180 question, 230 minutes, which is 77 seconds. So it's actually same. CP is an exception, right? In CP, they have a lot of time. But RMP and this both are same.
Okay, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir. I have one more question.
Yes, please.
You told that there will be PDU will be given by you, right? So when we can when it is beneficial during the application time or post application time when we can update in the question.
PDUs, right? So see, for when you're applying for RMP exam, you need contact hours, not PDU. So there's a difference between contact hour and PDU. PDUs, professional development units, are hours that you spend after you earn a certification. Before you earn a certification, that's what we call contact hours. So during application, you will be mentioning this course, right? And number of hours and everything will be mentioned on your course completion certificate, right?
So
It,
yes, sorry.
yeah.
So we are going to do the application after completion of the course.
No, you can start it, as I said, on Monday. You can start that. I'll provide you information what you need to. You can start writing the draft application that you can share with me. I will review that and then you can submit it, right?
Okay.
Technically, yes, you can only submit application upon completion of the course, right? But you can start writing it. You can draft it. Once the course is complete next week, and then you can submit it. Okay. Meanwhile, your application would be ready, approved by me, so that you can directly submit it. Okay.
Okay.
Right. Okay, let's start risk strategy and planning. Everybody, please contribute. Let's have interactive discussion. We'll start our discussion with the definition of risk. So here we will be talking about basic or fundamentals, some definitions, right? We will be talking about risk management plan. In risk management plan, we will be talking about document analysis, like how we kickstart our work. We will be talking about stakeholders analysis, right? We will be discussing, just a second. Yes, risk appetite, risk threshold, risk tolerance. We'll be talking about SWOT analysis, right? Risk categories, guidelines, roles and responsibilities, right? These are the things that we will be discussing in this process. So let's start with the first one, the definition of risk. Who would like to define? And most of the content today that we will be discussing is similar to what you guys covered in PMP and other certifications. So who would like to define risk?
It's an uncertain event that might happen that could
Okay.
positively or negatively affect the project outcomes or objectives.
Right. Something uncertain that could negatively impact project outcome. Okay. Anybody else?
Sir, it
Anything
is
which can anything
Yeah.
which can expose to any danger or any loss any loss of any kind is
Okay.
known as risk.
So the
Anything
risk
that
is
could expose you. Yeah.
so risk is an uncertain event for negative or positive impact of project for future uh, events maybe.
Okay. So you're saying it could be positive as well.
Yes. So negative impact as well as positive impact. More.
Okay. Can you please give me an example of positive impact? Just try. Nothing is right and wrong. If I ask a question, that's just for for to have interactive discussion.
sir, it
Critical
could be
material
like
early.
Sorry?
So the
Critical material
positive
Okay, fine.
earlier expected.
Yeah. Mubarak, go ahead.
Like so critical material delivered earlier than expected, which can
Okay,
reduce the
fantastic.
time.
Fantastic. Likelihood of receiving critical material early. This could be an uncertain event with positive outcome, right? So yes, risk could be divided in two different categories. So first of all, definition of risk is that risk is any uncertain event Any uncertain event with negative or positive impact on project. If the impact of risk is negative, we call it a threat, right?
Mr. Aman, may I ask a question, please? Hello.
Yes, Mubarak, you were asking a question?
Actually, I want to ask, if you allow me, please.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, as you mentioned that uncertain event that could be happen after start of the project, right?
Yeah.
So any event you have already known at the bidding stage, for example, your estimation team has considered some unit prices which are not exactly as per the norms or maybe lower, any of resources which they have to arrange, but those are not as per the market prices but the lower. In that case, that will be also considered at uncertain event, or will be in other category.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an uncertain event. It's an uncertain event, right? Anything where you're not sure about, where you have likelihood. So not having enough data, not having enough information, this is called ambiguity risk. Rifat, am I audible? Can you can you hear
Yes,
me?
yes, yes. I'm listening, trying to understand. Yeah.
Yes, you're audible.
Yeah. So this is called ambiguity risk, right?
Sir, excuse me.
When,
Like,
yeah.
yeah, the Mr. I think he's Mubarak Ali, he was asking question. So I think he's asking about there may be inflation or deflation. So right now, I mean, the same case is always in the built environment project, or even in many projects. Once we are supposed to face deflation, so it is like we need to uh, take the critical material or procure the critical material early so that we could avoid these things. So this is one of the remedy.
Right. So just continue and building on what Abid said and to respond to the question. If prices of material, if there is a likelihood of prices going up, it could negatively impact your project. So it's a threat. If there is a likelihood of prices going down, it could be an opportunity with positive impact on your project. Both should be managed. Management of threats and opportunities is called risk management. Usually, we use this word risk in negative connotation. For example, we say this activity is a risky activity. This business is risky business, right? When we use these terminologies, the purpose is to show the negative connotation. But from PMI perspective, risk could be negative and risk could be positive. Negative risk, they are called threats. Positive risks are called opportunities. So management of threats and opportunities is called risk management. Is it clear, everybody? So just one more thing, which is very important for this exam. The difference between risk and issue. Who would like to answer? What is the difference between risk and issue?
Issue is something that has happened, and risk is that we are forecasting in future, or we are like uncertain about something
Absolutely.
that
Risk is something uncertain, right? something which has the potential to occur, right? Something which may or may not occur in future. There is a likelihood, there is a chance, there is a possibility, right? This is called risk. On the other hand, issue is something which is past, something which has already happened, right? And issues are always negative. Issues are always negative. And risk could be negative, could be positive, as we discussed. Risks are documented in risk register, and issues are documented in issue log. Please remember this, right? I hope you got a clarity. What's the difference between risk and issue, right? Risk and issue. Okay. Then risk versus assumption. Anyone, please. What's the difference between risk and assumption? Anyone, please.
Assumption is like we are putting some basis, and basis on that we are doing the work. That is assumption, and risk is uncertain that is occurring in the future.
Right. Anybody else? How would you define an assumption?
During planning phase, if we don't know, if we don't have historical data, so we assume something to be true at that stage, so it can be a risk in future.
Okay.
But
But
we
what
treat
is
it like
assumption? What is assumption?
Then I guess
assumption is something like we have assumed at planning stage. Like during planning, we assume something that is not verified, and
sir,
Something
I
is
think
treated as a fact.
treated as a fact. Okay. What do you mean by when you treat something as a fact? Isn't it a risk? Isn't it a risk?
sir, of course it
No.
could be risk because these are some ideal conditions, so we treat it as a fact. So again, we are going to take them as an ideal condition. Of course, there could be risk.
So then what's the difference between an assumption and a risk? What is the difference?
I think assumption can be mitigated,
Okay.
but risk have more chances or likelihood, you can say, right? That
So,
cannot be mitigated fully, but maybe partially.
okay. So both can be mitigated according to your understanding or what you're saying.
Yes,
So,
but the risks basically, I understand that cannot be fully mitigated, but assumption can be. You can take some affecting measures, put some mitigations, and maybe you can eliminate this area.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Anybody else?
So assumption can be a risk if you have got some verified uh, facts about the assumption. So it
Mm-hmm.
can be converted into risk. Otherwise, it will remains as an assumption with certain unverified facts.
Right. Okay. Let me explain the
Sir,
difference
can
between.
we say that all the assumptions can be all the risks can be based on the assumptions, but all the assumptions cannot be converted into risk?
Okay. Right. All assumptions can be called risk. That's what you're saying.
Yes, sir.
Assumptions may lead to risks. Assumptions are not risks. assumptions may lead to further risks, right? So first of all, we need to understand the difference between assumption and risk. So an assumption is something that you believe to be true, right? Something that you treat as a fact, as Aftab mentioned, something that you believe to be true. For example, during planning, right? Let's say I'm doing my cost planning. Everybody, please pay attention. These small details will help you get the questions right in the exam. Very small, tiny details. We won't be discussing anything extra other than what you have covered in other examinations, but these small details will help you understand the concepts, like what is issue log, what is risk log, when you should be updating risk register, when you should be updating issue log, who is issue owner, who is risk owner, who is risk owner, who is risk action owner, who is risk manager. So these are three different roles: risk manager, risk owner, risk action owner, and project manager is on top of that. So understanding and having clarity about these minute details will help you in this exam. Okay, so an assumption is something you believe to be true without full proof, and you plan the project as if it will hold, right? It's a working belief, right? For example, you say you're working on costing of your project, you're calculating budget, and you say, okay, inflation for next year would be 3%. So your calculation are based on this assumption, right? You understand, everybody? This is your assumption. So you're basing your plan on this, right? Inflation would be 3%. Now, how it is different from a risk? If we take it as a risk, risk could be anything, right? It may be 3 or may not be 3. But when we are taking it as an assumption, we believe it will be 3%. You understand? Does it make sense? In risk, there is a chance of going up and down. It may vary. And when you plan, when you document that variance. But when you're writing it as an assumption, you fix it. That's the difference between an assumption and a risk. Risk may vary, assumption from planning perspective remains same. You understand, everybody? Does it make sense? Like, in order to get your cost, you said, okay, I'm assuming my inflation for next year would be 3%. It's locked, it's fixed. Does it make sense, everybody?
So
Is it clear?
let me
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
yeah. So for example, if this inflation is based on past trajectory or trends, based on that trends, I thought, okay, it's 3% for the next year, and I put this assumption 3% inflation during my planning stage. So still it's assumption, right? Even it's based on past trajectory for several years, for last 5 years or last 10 years.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
could
It's an
be,
assumption.
it's
All
still assumption.
assumptions
Okay.
are based on your past learnings, right? You're assuming
Past
something
learning.
based on past trend, right? So your assumptions are based on your learnings or past trends. So still it's an assumption.
Thank you.
Right. So when we are taking it as an assumption, we are fixing it, right? And when we are taking it a risk, it could go either way. For example, um, government will take 30 days to approve the building permit. What is this? Is it an assumption or a risk? Government will take 30 days to approve the permit for this building. Is it risk or an assumption?
It's a risk.
Assumption.
Sorry, one by one, please.
According to
For me, it's a risk.
Okay. Umesh, go ahead.
for me, assumption.
You're saying it's an assumption. Why?
Because this 30 days is fixed, like it's not vary. If vary like 25 to 30 days, then might be risk. But the 30 days is fixed, so it should be assumption.
Right. Okay. Anybody else?
Again, for me, it's a noun fact. That's why it's not a assumption. It's a risk.
Right. Aftab, what do you think?
I believe it's assumption
It's
because we
why
assume
it's
that
not a risk?
government.
Why it's not a risk?
I believe that because it's not impacting your project. Maybe you have already considered this in your project plans.
Yeah, that's right. But it may impact, right?
But we know already that it will take 30 days.
Yes, absolutely. We are fixing it. We're not saying it may or may not take. We're saying it will take. We are fixing it.
Okay.
If we are fixing it, it's not a risk. It's an assumption, right? Assumption is something that is fixed, that you fix it, intentionally fix it, right? If I say government may take 30 days to approve the plan, now this is a risk because there is a possibility of may or may not. But if I'm fixing something, that's an assumption for planning perspective. So just remember this for your exam, okay? If you are believing something to be true for planning purposes, that's an assumption. But if something may or may not happen that would have impact on your product, that's a risk. I hope it is clear. Still, if you're confused, please feel free to ask. This
So
understanding
for
is
example,
really, yeah.
yeah. So let me clear in example. For example, if there is a 30 days, for example, for goods for custom clearance, sometime it took like a 15 days, or sometime due to some uncertain reasons, it can take like 2 months or 3 months. So it will very negatively impact on the schedule. So I think this is definitely a risk. When we say it
How it
may
is?
take,
Yeah, I'm not saying may take. I'm saying it will take 30 days. How it is a risk? How it is a risk?
because of uncertainty in
No, there is
manufacturers.
no uncertainty. There is no uncertainty. I'm saying it will take 30 days for planning perspective. Obviously, there would be uncertainty. That's why I said assumptions may lead to risks, right? But when we are saying this will take 30 days, it's not a risk anymore, right? I'm fixing it for planning perspective because if you want to plan something, you need to fix some fundamentals, right? For example, we are saying, okay, PMI will take 5 to 7 business days to approve your application. This is an assumption, right? This is not a risk. But due to some reason, this assumption may lead to new risks. But we are taking it as an assumption. We are not dealing it as a risk. See, treatment of an assumption and risk is different. If I'm saying PMI will take 5 days to approve your application versus PMI may take 5 days to approve application, your actions in both the situation would be different. Ahmad, you understand?
Understood.
Right? Okay. Then there is another terminology that is called risk versus constraint. Who would like to answer? What is the difference? We're talking about fundamentals, very basic concept, right? So please feel free to contribute, right? Don't hesitate.
Constraint is the hurdle or obstacle we can say.
All right. Anybody else? Anyone, please. What is a constraint? What is a constraint?
It's something that limits you from
Perfect.
from
Something
doing
that
like
limit you. Limitation. Limitation, right? That's the constraint. For example, budget. We say my project budget is $300 million. This is a constraint. This is a limitation, right? Let's say I say my timeline is 12 months. This is a limitation, right? Let's say I need to follow this quality standard. This is your limitation. So typically we have this triangle that is called triple constraint triangle. PMI, triple constraint triangle. So you have scope here, you have time or schedule here, and you have cost and budget here. You have quality here, which is constant. So you can change these scope, time, and cost, but quality will remain constant. So these are your triple constraint of project management. So constraints are your limitations within which this is the boundary within which you have to play. I hope you understand the difference between risk and constraint. Constraint, again, it's fixed. It's your limitation. And risk is any uncertain event which may or may not occur. Right? Okay, then we have known versus unknown risks. Known versus unknown risks. Anyone, please? What is the difference between known and unknown risks?
Known risk is which we already identified and which may occur in the future. But unknown
Okay.
risk is we are not able to identify, and it may be happen in the future and we are not identified.
Absolutely right. Fantastic. Please, I'm again saying these small details will help you pass the exam, right? Very small details. Known risks are those risks that you identify during planning stage, that you identify and document. Those are called known risks which are known to you, which you are aware of, which you have documented, right? Identified and documented risks are called known risks. And a risk which you have not identified, right? That is called unknown risk. This is also called emergent risks. Emergent risk, right?
Like COVID-19, right? No.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. So treatment of known versus unknown risk is different. For example, I say, uh, let me give you an example. You're taking the exam and you're saying, poor internet connectivity during the exam. Is it known risk or unknown risk? Anyone, please?
known.
Known.
Is it known or unknown?
It's known because you already identified.
Okay, and let's say um, a fire incident at training institute. What is this?
This is unknown.
That is unknown.
It also noun risk.
So which one is known and which one is unknown? Anyone, please.
Unknown is like there is any sudden holiday, any sudden incident happens due to which exam center is closed that day.
Right.
Yeah. If I understand well, I believe both are known because we already listed the both of these.
Right. Absolutely. If you have listed both of them, both are known risks. You understand? Before you take the exam, let's say today you make your risk register and you write, there is a possibility of poor internet connectivity, and you document this in your risk register. This is unknown risk and identified risk. And in the same risk register, if you document there is a possibility of a fire incident based on previous incidents, so this is also a known risk. Let's say you develop your risk register and you do not document poor internet connectivity in risk register. Is it known or unknown?
Then unknown, if not
Now
part
it's
of
an
the
unknown,
solution.
right? Although it's a simple risk, everybody is aware of, but since you have not documented it, for you, it is an unknown risk. So a risk event which is occurred, which was not part of your risk register, despite of the fact if it is simple, obvious, known to everybody, for you, it is still an unknown risk. You understand, everybody? Does it make sense? Any confusion about it? Anyone, please? So known versus unknown risk. Why it is important to understand? Because treatment of known risk is different from unknown risk. Okay,
Mr.
let's
Amar,
move on.
can I
Yeah,
ask a question if you don't mind, please?
yeah, please go ahead.
Uh, when I have experienced sometime we have listed known risks, you know, then sometime we do take some cost as a unknown risk, unidentified risk. Okay, in the risk register, we take some cost. So anything happens in between, then that will be a known or unknown, because we have taken already a provision for that,
Provision for what?
for any unknown.
For example, could you please give me an example again?
Let's see. We write down these two risks: poor internet and fire incident.
All
Okay,
right.
we took some a cost, or we can say a risk pool against these line items. But we take another line item which is unknown risks, but we take a cost against those, against that line item. So anything happens other than these two, will that be considered as unknown or known?
Obviously
Because
unknown. So simply, yeah, I got it. That's a very good point. So simply mentioning something as unknown as a line item, this does not make any unknown risk a known risk. Still, it's
understand.
unknown, right? If
Right.
you are mentioning an event, then it is known. So yes, what we do is for unknown event, we add a cost element. We will be talking about it in detail. That's called management reserves. We will be talking about that. But still, it's an unknown risk, okay?
Noted. Thank you.
Perfect. Then we have event-based risks versus non-event-based risks. Okay, anyone please. What's your understanding? What is event-based and what is non-event-based? Any idea? Just try, nothing is right and wrong, whatever comes to your mind.
I believe we just discussed the same, right?
What's that?
That we listed few line items, a few risks, and one of we considered as unknown, so non event based, that will be considered, right? Because we did not list it, but we took some provision for that.
No. There's a different concept here for event and non-event, right?
I
Can we
believe
say this event? Can we take event as our project?
Yeah.
That this is related to the activities of stakeholders which are related to the our event or our project. And
No.
other something can happen which
Yeah.
is not related to our event but indirectly may affect the our event or our project, but not directly related to our event.
Right. See, let me explain what's the difference between event and non-event based. Event-based risks are risks where some event happens, some physical, tangible event happens. That's event-based risk. Let's say an unfortunate accident, road accident. This is an event. Something is happening, right? Right? So it's an event, right? Which has happened, and as a result of that, there are some negative consequences or positive this is event based risk. Non-event based risks are risks where nothing happens, nothing tangible happens, but still there are negative or positive consequences. For example, we categorize non-event based risk. Just a second. Yes. So we categorize non-event based risk as variability risk, and ambiguity risk. So, for example, you started first mock test, right? You started mock 1 and your target was 70%, but you got 60%. Is there any event happened when you take the test? This variation in score, is it an event? This is just variation. Nothing happens, right? You just take the test, right? And test result varies across among students. This is called variability risk, uncertainty or variation in numbers. This is called variability risk. No event is happening, nothing is happening, right? It's just the variation in numbers. That is called variability risk. Is it clear, everybody? You understand? Any confusion?
We said
How variability risk is a non-event based risk?
Actually,
Anyone, please.
we are taking the exam, so it's event happening, right? Then based on that, we are getting the score. Am I audible?
Yeah, Umesh, I can hear you. Could you please repeat your question?
Actually, the example is given that score is vary, but in this case also we having the event, right? We are doing the exam or mock test or anything, so that is the one of the event, right? And based on that, we are getting the mark. So how is it non-event based?
Yes, Umesh, go ahead, please.
Okay, my question was there. To get the score, we are doing the event, like we are doing the mock test or exam. Then based on that, we are getting the score. So how it is non-event based risk?
Yeah, see, you are doing the exam. It's the same. You take the same example, you're driving, right? You're driving. But in addition to driving, some event happened, accident happened, right? Some crash happened. You were driving. Driving is an activity. As a result of that activity, an event happened. So exam is an activity. As a result of exam, nothing happened. It's just variation of score, variation of numbers. You understand that? So that's why it is called variability risk. So activity, we are doing activity in both the cases. We are driving, we are taking the test. But in first case, as a result of activity, an event is happening. Right? Here, event is one time. Taking test is an activity. When you do the test activity, nothing is happening. It's just variation in numbers. No event is happening. No explosion, nothing. So it's non-event based risk. Right? So there's a difference between activity and event. Umesh, is it clear?
Yes.
Second one is called ambiguity risk. First is variation and second is called ambiguity risk. Ambiguity is lack of knowledge. Lack of knowledge. So, for example, negative or positive consequences, precisely negative consequences because of lack of knowledge is called ambiguity risk. For example, getting low score because of lack of knowledge, this is called ambiguity risk. You have ambiguity about something. Nothing is happening, right? Lack of knowledge is not an event. Does it make sense, everybody? It's a state, it's a condition in comparison to an accident, a fire incident, right? Lack of knowledge is not an event. That's why it is called non-event based risk and it is called ambiguity risk. You understand, everybody? Event based, when you have an event, physical or tangible something, non-event, variability or ambiguity. Is it clear, everybody? Any confusion so far regarding these basics? If you're
Yes,
clear about
can
it, we'll move to the next section. So what we have discussed so far,
can you please
yeah,
repeat
go ahead, please.
ambiguity?
Yeah, what you want me to repeat?
The ambiguity risk.
Yeah. Ambiguity means lack of knowledge, being ambiguous about something, being not familiar or not having enough information. That's called ambiguity risk. Where you have lack of clarity, that is called ambiguity risk. Because not having clarity is not a physical event, right? It's state of mind. So no event is happening. That's why we call it non-event based risks. And with a non-event, since you are ambiguous, it is ambiguous, right? You don't have clarity, so we call it ambiguity risk. Mubarak, is it clear?
So failure of technology or failure of material, for example. So this is the lack of knowledge. We don't know whether particular material is sustained for particular condition or not. So if so, this is ambiguity risk or it's a certain risk. It's a certain risk, right? But because there are so many things are unknown
You're
and we
saying
proceed out.
fear of something?
Sorry.
Yeah, Amar, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I am talking if we are not certain about some materials, like its MOC is compatible with certain conditions or not, and we wrote this risk in the our risk register. So it's a certain risk or it's a ambiguity risk. So because we
See,
don't
if
know
there is a
about
lack
that,
of knowledge, it's ambiguity risk.
yeah, this is we are not sure about that material, whether it's sustained or
Yeah, it's
not
ambiguity
sustained.
risk.
All right.
It's an
Ahmad
ambiguity
is
risk.
saying that if we are not
Yeah.
sure that this material will be okay for our experiment or not, but we use
Withstand or not
we still
withstand, yeah, yeah.
yes, but we still use that material for the same.
Yeah,
Then
it's an ambiguity risk. Yeah.
okay.
It's an ambiguity risk because you have lack of clarity, right? You're not clear about something. You have insufficient information. Whenever you have insufficient information or insufficient knowledge, that's called ambiguity risk. Okay. Any negative outcome that you get because of lack of knowledge, that's called ambiguity risk. Saftar and Ahmad, is it clear?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, perfect. Wonderful. All right. So we got basic understanding about risk and different terminologies that we use. Now, let me explain the risk management process to you, everybody. Please pay attention, right? So there
Archit,
are, yeah, go ahead.
from this section, is there any terminology like physical and theoretical? That physical risks and theoretical risk is being utilized or used in the industry or not? Physical risks
No, there
and
is no
theoretical
such thing.
risks.
No, there is no such
Okay,
thing.
okay,
There
sir.
is no
Thank you.
such thing. Thank you. Okay. There are 7 steps in risk management process, or 7 processes you can say in the entire risk management, and these are exactly similar to what you guys discussed in PMP exam. Who would like to answer? What's the first one? What's the first process of risk
Risk
management?
identification.
Okay.
Plan risk management. That
Plan
like
risk management.
Plan.
Seems like Abid has forgot PMP. Abid, join my next PMP class. We'll study it together. Just kidding.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
Plan risk management. That's step number 1. Step 2, risk identification. Identify risk. What is step 3, anyone, please?
qualitative
Analysis.
analysis.
Analysis. Perfect. Who said analysis? Somebody said analysis.
Amount.
Ahmad.
Perfect. Wonderful. Yes, it is analysis. We categorize analysis in 2 different subcategories. First is qualitative analysis, right? And second is quantitative analysis.
So can we combine these 2 steps in as a risk ranking? We can say as a risk ranking. Okay.
Not just ranking. Ranking is just one tiny part of it.
Okay.
Ranking is a small part of analysis. In analysis, we do a lot of other stuff. So not just ranking. So this is your risk analysis, right? Okay. Then fifth one. What is the fifth one, anyone, please?
Risk assessment,
Plan risk
Sorry, what?
risk response.
Reporting.
risk assessment,
Plan
operating
risk response.
Plan risk responses. Perfect. Then what is the sixth one?
Monitoring.
Implement risk responses. And we have already discussed it. This is your response section. And then the last one, monitor risk. Monitoring and reporting or close risk. Now, these are 7 steps in your risk management section. You start with risk management plan, right? That's your step number 1. Once you do that, you identify risk. It means there are no risks documented in plan risk management. Am I right, everybody? Because risk identification is done after you do plan risk management. Does it make sense, everybody? Is it clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Risk identification is done once you're done with plan risk management. So plan risk management is not about identification of risk, right? I'll be talking about it in detail, but just to help you understand, right? Once you identify risk, then you do analysis, and we have two different types of analysis, right? Qualitative analysis and quantitative analysis. Once analysis is done, then we come up with responses. We first plan responses and then we implement. And last one is we do continuous monitoring and controlling. This is your entire risk management process. Let's start with the first one, plan risk management. If you have any question, anyone, please feel free to ask. Any question, please.
So my question is for risk identification. So
Yeah.
it's a continuous process during monitoring, or you can, once you identify risk and then class, you cannot add more risk, and you can do analysis and its implementation and responses and monitoring. So I am talking
Who
about
would like
step
to
2.
answer? Yeah, perfect. Who would like to answer to Ahmad's question? Ahmad is saying, is it continuous or what?
Continuous.
Continuous.
I
It's a
believe continuous. Yeah.
continuous process. Yeah.
So what we do, Ahmad, is we identify risk during the planning stage. Let me talk about project lifecycle here for you. So please pay attention. This is helpful for everybody, this, regardless if you have any certification by PMI or not. So we have project management lifecycle. We divide it in 5 sections. First is initiation, right? Then we have execution. Last one is closure. And on top of that, we have monitoring and controlling. So this is your project life cycle, project management life cycle. So there are 5 different stages of project life cycle. So first one is project initiation, initiating. Then we have planning. Then we have executing. Then we have monitoring and controlling, and then we have closing. This is called project management life cycle. Like first you initiate the project, then you plan it, then you execute it, then you monitor and control, then you close it, right? Okay, now question to you, a question is, when we do all these activities, so first process, plan risk management, is done during planning, right? As the name indicate. Plan risk management. Second step, risk identification. This is also done during planning. Then third is risk analysis. Both type of analysis are conducted here, right? Third and fourth. Then fifth one is plan risk responses. Again, it is planning, right? Then we have implement. So implementation is done here. And then we have monitor. Monitoring is done during monitoring and controlling. Ahmad, is it clear? You understand? Ahmad, am I audible? Okay. Actually, I want to explain a very important concept here, right? I'm not sure if Ahmad is listening or not. So please pay attention, everybody. According to this, it says, yes, risk identification is done during planning. Then why you guys are saying it's a continuous activity? We do this during planning. How it is continuous? Who would like to answer?
Maybe we miss something during the planning. So during the monitoring and controlling, we identify the another one.
Yes, absolutely right. Because it's uncertain. You cannot identify all the risk during planning, right? So even if you are in the execution, you may identify a new risk. So it's a continuous activity. Yes, you do it during the planning stage for the first time. You develop your risk register, but it's a continuous activity. You keep on doing it throughout the life of the project. You keep on identifying and analyzing risk, right? In the entire duration of project. So it's a continuous activity. I hope it is clear. Okay, coming back to first one, plan risk management. So plan risk management is your first step and you do it before you identify risk. So what exactly we do in plan risk management? In this, we actually develop risk management plan. Risk management plan. What is risk management plan? It is, yeah, go ahead.
On how to do the process, so everything will be there.
Perfect. How to do. It is one of the subsidiary plans. So we have a master plan that is called project management plan. And within project management plan, we have multiple plans. Scope plan, schedule plan, cost plan, communication plan, stakeholder plan, and so on. Risk management plan is one of the components of the project management plan. You understand, everybody? In project management plan, we have roughly 9 subsidiary plans. We have 3 baselines, and we have some other components, 5 or 6 other components. This is your project management plan. And one of the subsidiary plans is risk management plan. You understand, everybody? What is? Yeah, go ahead, Umesh.
Sorry, I just remember the subsidiary plan. What actually 10 subsidiary plan? Might be I was wrong, but
yeah. So, for example, scope management plan is a subsidiary plan.
yes.
Schedule management plan is another subsidiary plan. Cost management plan, quality management plan, communication management plan, stakeholders, risk, procurement. All of these are your subsidiary plans, right? Resources.
Scope also divided into another one more is there. Scope divided into 2 parts. Right?
Requirements.
Yes, scope requirement. Yeah, so this including requirement management plan. This will be,
yeah, because requirements are part of your scope, right? Requirements define your scope. So these are your subsidiary plans. And risk is one of the essential components of your project management plan. Now, question is, please pay attention, everybody. This is probably the most important part of our learning in today's class. If you understand this, means you have understood the entire lecture. Everybody, please write in the chat or unmute yourself and answer me. If you are identifying risk in step 2, what exactly we are doing in step 1? Who would like to answer? Everybody, this is an important question. I repeat my question. You are identifying risk in step 2. What you are doing in step 1?
Actually, what earlier I mentioned that in the step 1, we are fixing the guideline how to make the how to control other things or how to done for the other part like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All the guidelines we will be putting in the plan risk management.
Okay, how you can do that without identifying risk? Rifat is saying planning the risk management structure. Rifat, what do you mean by that? What is meant by this?
Means that when you are going to implement some risk management plan, then you need to know that what will be the first action, second action, who will be involved in that plan or the management, risk management. Okay, so you need to know first that how to prepare it basically.
So, right, absolutely. So let me
Okay.
give you an example here. Perfect. Thank you,
Sir, can
Rifat.
we say it as a plan risk management as a preparation of the risk framework?
That's right.
Something?
Absolutely. Absolutely right. Risk framework. That's right. See, before we started this class, I sent you some guidelines, right? Okay, this is the timing for the class, right? This is the platform that we will be using. We will be using Zoom. This is the link, right? Please be on time, right? So setting the guidelines before you actually jump in to kickstart risk identification. All those guidelines are documented in risk management plan. You understand, everybody? Defining the structure, right? Defining the framework, documenting the guidelines. That's what we do in risk management planning. You understand, everybody? Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? Defining the structure, defining the guidelines, defining the framework, right? That's what we call risk planning or risk strategizing. In this step, we are not identifying any risk of the project. We are just laying down the guidelines, like how we are going to do it, how we are going to do it. What are the steps and procedures that we will be following? What are the steps and procedures we will be following?
Yeah.
Who
In
should
other
be
words, we can say the blueprint, right?
So in his absence, we can continue like in plan risk management. We will document the things like how we will identify risks, what methodology will be used, what techniques will be used for qualitative and quantitative analysis, and who will be responsible for planned responses, like assigning risk honors, and how then risks will be reported as per stakeholders' requirements.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my question is regarding risk management. Is there any specific procedure for risk management in PMP, or the company specific management procedure shall be adopted for this exercise? For example, in Aramco, they have their own guidelines to conduct risk management plan and to proceed with the risk identification and so on so off. So my question is this specific to like a PMI guidelines they are adopting around the world, or it's a company specific guidelines based on company procedures?
Right. So yes, PMI offers a framework that we will be discussing in this course, and it is collection of best practices. So this is a very good point. PMI's approach is collection of best practices. Now, what is meant by best practices? So PMI says that we follow these guidelines, or we have collective all the good practices which are being adopted in the world, and we have integrated all of them together. Now it's your job to see what is good for your organization. They don't say follow this structure as it is, right? Right? They don't say this. They say this is a collection of good practices. Now it's your choice to apply whatever you want to. So whatever you're saying, Aramco and other good organization, big companies, they have their procedures. So PMI framework is amalgamation or collection of all the good practices regarding risk management which are happening in all over the world, and it is collection of multiple frameworks, right? So you learn this framework and then you tailor this according to the need of your organization. PMI does not say implement it as it is, right? They say change it, tailor it according to your needs. So, yes, there is a framework, but at the same time, there is a need to tailor it. There is a need to adapt according to specific needs of your project. Is it clear?
Yes, thank you. It's clear.
Okay, perfect. Anybody else? Any other question?
Sir, can I ask question? I need to discuss specific situation. Like after passing a PMP, going through all the plans like cost management plan, I mean, going through all of the theoretical details. Once it comes up with the actual in actual situation, like if we are supposed to design or prepare a risk management plan or cost management plan or any plan. So
Mm-hmm.
normally, we do not have any exposure to that. Uh, can you please share any kind of templates like we could have like this? Specifically, now we are involved in the risk management plan, and I would love to learn it in more details. So, if you have any some kind of templates like any design plans which you have maybe somebody else is using for his any ABC company or ABC organization, any organization. So, if you do have any template or some kind of plan, so that we could have any idea that how these things are tackled in actual sense.
Right, absolutely. I can share a few templates with you, but as discussed, like different companies, they use their own templates. But I can share a few just to give you an idea how these different documents look like, right?
Yes, sir. This will be your great favor to us if you could share like especially risk management plan. So like why just I just asked my company or my firm they are going to start metro bus system in Punjab in Gujranwala. So I was thinking about, let's say, for example, if I'm supposed to prepare a risk management plan or any plan for this, so at least I should have some template or any idea that uh, which could help me a lot. That's the basic reason.
Sure, absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks for, and just remind me, I will share that with you, right? With all of you
Sir,
so that
sir,
you get the idea.
grateful, sir. Thank
Okay. Anybody else? Any other question?
So, my question regarding your one diagram
Mm-hmm.
related to the project phases, what
Yeah.
you draw.
Mm-hmm.
First, it starts from initiation, then planning, execution, close out, and there is one more bar. It's controlling and cost control. What was it?
Yeah,
Sorry,
monitoring and controlling.
monitoring and controlling. So these are defining phase gates of project, or it's sort of some different thing.
No, these are not phase gates. Phases
Okay.
are phase. The word phase is used differently, right? So these are not phases of your project. I'll be
Mm-hmm.
talking about phases tomorrow. Just remind me. So, what are phases? Phases are like, let's say, first you are in concept stage of your project. This is one of the
Yeah,
phases. Then
yeah, I
feasibility,
understand. Okay.
then
Okay.
feasibility, then you jump into
Business.
detailed scope, then detailed design, then procurement, then execution. These are the phases, right?
Okay. Right. Correct.
Now, talking about this life cycle that you I have just shown you, in
Mm-hmm.
life cycle what we do is we categorize different activities into different groups, like okay,
Activities
these
in
are the,
different group. Okay.
yeah,
Got
this
it.
is
Got
from
it. Got it.
time
Got it.
perspective, okay, like these are the activities which we are supposed to do during initiation. These are the
So,
activities which we are supposed to do during planning. So these are group of
okay.
activities, different group of activities. So phases are different, group of activities are different. Okay.
One question I have.
Mr. Mar,
Yeah, please, Umesh, go ahead.
maybe off the topic, but I
Yeah.
just want to clarify something. Is the phase gate and stage gate are the
Yeah.
same thing?
Same. Yeah, they are same thing. Stage gate, phase gate, kill point, go or no go point, stage review.
Right.
All of these are different names of the same thing.
Perfect. Right. Thank you.
Okay.
Right.
Wonderful.
Thank
Shall I go ahead?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Sir, actually, I was reading one of the book, and there it was identified that means it was saying by the author, most of the project managers they don't know what is the risk. They are not able to know in the project. Most of people are not aware about the risk, and this is lead to we know in the future we do have a lot of issue for the budget constraint. All those things are there. So how means how we can get to know that this is risk or not and all. This is big. I mean, according to me, I was trying to understand. This is big. I know discussion and big statement given by the authority or you can say the who has written that article. So can you explain this?
Yeah, so see, you're saying most of the managers they don't know what is the risk and they're not able to identify risk. So see how we get to know team involvement, stakeholders involvement, having diverse opinion, setting aside dedicated time for risk management activities. Most of the time, what we do is we do not spend enough time on risk management activities. So just think about your project, right? How much time you or your team or your organization spend on risk management? We don't deal risk management as a as a separate area, right?
Mhm.
Yes, we when we write report we add a section of risk, but how much time actually we allocate in risk identification? Do we conduct brainstorming sessions, right? Do we review previous data repositories? um, have we built risk aware culture? So risk, since due to nature of it, it's very uncertain, and a lot of people think it's waste of time to spend time on something which is not certain. I had conversation with senior leaders within the organization about risk, and they were like, what's the point of spending this much time when you're not sure about it?
Yeah, actually, same thing. Sometimes thought also in my mind that
Yeah.
we are means we are not giving much time, and sometimes even the team also they don't understand what is the risk.
Absolutely, absolutely. The biggest problem is not allocating enough time for these risk related activities or not giving importance to it. That's why one of the subtopics that we have is cultivate a risk aware culture. If you don't have that culture, then people won't be giving enough attention to this, right? And they will feel like this is a redundant activity. This is just a fancy activity or fancy words that we add to project management. These are actually not needed. This mindset is the biggest problem in structured or implementing a structured risk management. So we should understand if we identify it. I can give you one example. I have given that during my CP class as well. When I came to here in Boston, the very first visit we did was one of MIT's building, and I asked construction manager at that time. I asked him a question like, "How much time you spent in the planning stage of this project?" So the total duration of project was 4 year, and I got surprised when he told me they spent 2 years in planning. 50% of the time went into planning. The question is how much time we spend in planning, right?
Yes.
So if you're not spending enough time, if you're not spending enough, if you're not investing enough efforts in risk identification, then how we can identify risk? So first, awareness of the sensitivity of the issue or the matter, understanding how important risk management is for your project, and then allocating specific block of your time in risk identification that will help you to comprehensively understand what are your project risk. If we are not doing that, then obviously it would be challenging. We're not going to do that. So first thing is have that understanding that risk management is essential or core part of your project management. Once you have that mindset, then allocate enough time. Once you allocate enough time, then you use right techniques and methodology or frameworks, right? For example, one of the framework is by PMI, like use brainstorming, SWOT analysis, document analysis, checklist, categories, all the things that we will be covering tomorrow, right? So, having the mindset and then with right process and tools, you will be able to implement a structured risk management in your organization. Umesh, is it clear?
Yes. One thing is that first, what I understand, we have to cultivate in the organization to focus on the risk part also, because
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And this is an a short assignment to all of you, right? Talk about risk management with your colleagues and what's their understanding, what's their point of view. Please, I'm really interested to know about it. Talk about it with your colleagues or think about it. So, everybody, I want you to submit one page or whatever, less than one page, some homework on this. What's the level of risk aware culture in your organization? How sensitive is your organization about risk management? How your organization see risk management? Do they have established processes? Do they understand the importance of it? Right? Just think about it and come up with something tomorrow. Before tomorrow's class, just send me something. It could be very informal, just a message, voice note, or in any form, right? I just want to know your input on it, like how your organization sees risk management in the broader umbrella of project management, right? Just think about it, talk to your colleagues, and see if your organization, what maturity level your organization has in terms of risk management. That will help us understand risk management better. Okay, anybody else, any other question? So, unfortunately, and this is to my surprise, I'm not able to connect any of my device with this internet except my phone. My phone is connected, and I'm having this class. I'm not sure what's happening. This is an unknown risk, and I'll handle that after the class. So we are going to end the class, but before we end the class, if any of you have any question, please feel free to ask. Any question, please, anyone?
Sir, I need to ask one thing. Sir,
Yeah, please.
normally if we go through PMI Infinity, so
Yeah.
I think PMI Infinity is offering two things. One is, I guess, quality management plan, and second one specifically PMI Infinity will be talking about the risk management plan. So, how useful it could be like in designing or drafting or whatsoever the plan for the risk management by using the PMI Infinity.
PMI Infinity?
Yeah. I mean, we have like it's a AI tool, PMI Infinity.
Yeah, it's just like, to be honest, I don't see it more efficient than ChatGPT. ChatGPT is more efficient than that.
Then the same thing. I was thinking about the PMI Infinity. That it's
Yeah,
not
that's
better.
nothing. That's just a different name of the same thing, right? So I don't see a lot of value in that, right? But yes, they have trained it slightly, uh, you know, towards PMIism, but I don't see any big difference. I have tried that when they launched Infinity. So for everybody who's not aware, what is PMI Infinity? So this is AI chatbot like ChatGPT, right? For project management, and you can have project management related conversation with that. So I don't see it a lot of it as a lot of beneficial or very effective. So if you're using chat gpt, that's perfectly fine.
Sir, even now they have included the PMI Infinity in the PMI official software. I mean, you use in on mobile or tablet. So they
It's
have
the same
introduced
thing, it's
PMI.
the same thing,
Yeah,
there is
it's
no
the same
difference.
thing.
There is no difference. Okay, anybody else, any other question regarding anything relevant or irrelevant? Please feel free to ask.
So just one question. For tomorrow's class will be at the same time.
Yeah, same time, same link, and we'll continue our discussion today. We're not able to complete our first topic. So we'll be completing our first topic, and then we will be talking about domain two, which is risk identification. And I'll be sending you these class notes as well. In addition to that, I'll be sending you some extra reading material for the next week. And yes, so what you guys can
Sure.
do is, let me send you something after this class that you can read or you can go through it. And tomorrow we will be having class at the same time.
For the mock test, it will be similar like PMI-CP or other.
Yeah, yeah, like PMI-CP, but obviously, since they have changed the exam, so uh, CP mock tests are more relevant to the real exam. But RMP mock tests are not that relevant because they have updated it, they have changed it, they are continuously revising it. But they are very helpful in terms of preparing for the exam. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. I'll see you all tomorrow, same time. Take care. Bye.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye
Assalamu
bye.
alaikum.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Welcome.